So this week, it's the week of the Ford. It's either a minivan, a tiny little Nissan, or F-150 with 500 miles on it. So four-wheel drive F-150. It's kind of equipped how I like. It's got running boards. It's got a bench seat and a column shifter. This ought to be interesting. I think it's a 2.7 EcoBoost. We're going to find out, but that is not in the afternoon. That is in the morning. So I'm going to get a better video up tomorrow when I'm a little bit more awake. But yeah, crew cab F-150 with 500 miles on it. Let's see if this can redeem the Ford name after that Bronco Sport. So one of the things I immediately noticed is 680 miles to empty. Yeah, this thing has a 34 gallon, I believe. Might be 36, might be 38. I don't know. I'll put it. It's one of those, but this has the extended fuel tank option, which is greatly appreciated. I really like a lot of range in the vehicle. I got my phone connected very quickly. Always like this about F-150s, how the window drops down so you can see the mirror. Great visibility. I have a feeling I'm going to like this one a little bit more. I mean, in all fairness, it costs about double what a Bronco Sport does. But yeah, pretty basic truck. Obviously the big fuel tank, but it has no other options besides four-wheel drive, a large fuel tank, and I mean, what else do you really need? Everything has Android Auto, Apple CarPlay at this point. It still has the same gauges. Definitely a turbo motor. Which one? I would say the 2.7 because it revs to over 6,000 RPM. I believe the 3.5 does not rev that high. But yeah, we'll do some more detailed investigation when it's not, 12:18 in the morning. So, all right, guys, let's keep you updated and give you some more impressions of this week's rental review, the 2025 F-150. So some more driving impressions. This thing is great. I see why this is the best-selling truck and one of the best-selling vehicles, period, in America. It's comfortable, tons of room for people. Still have 551 miles after driving it around all day today. I get it. I get the full-size truck. This 2.7, not my favorite motor in the world. I mean, it makes good torque, and it's an adequate amount of power. Here, I'll show you here. We'll get on the freeway here and give it some beans. Yeah, the power's fine. I mean, I'm sure the 0 to 60 is like 7 seconds, which is more than you'd ever need. And my only problem with it is knowing the 5-liter exists. I actually took a 5-liter cross country. I rented it and drove it across country, and it just sounds so much better. And I mean, yes, this makes more torque, but here we go. We got a little on-ramp here. Let's give it some beans here. Yeah, I mean, it goes. Definitely goes. But it doesn't sound great. And in all honesty, the fuel economy is not that great either. I'm getting 17 miles a gallon. That's about the same you'd get with a 5-liter, sounding better, revving higher, and you get a V8. So I would go with the 5-liter, but yeah, this motor's fine for like the kind of base motor that it is. I have no issues with it. It's gonna be hard to tell on camera here, but one thing I don't like about this truck, and one thing I've never really liked about F-150s in general, actually Fords in general, the turning radius is terrible. It's noticeably worse than a GM or even a Dodge, a Nissan truck, a Toyota truck. The turning radius is really bad, and it's kind of always been that way on Fords. But yeah, the other thing that's interesting is the ride. So it rides smooth. It's comfortable. It's not like that Bronco Sport, I can tell you that. But it's almost, I don't know. It's like the whole thing flexes a little too much. It's going to sound weird, but stick with me. You go over a bump and the front suspension feels good about how you'd want it to feel, you know? Good rebound compression, good steering, especially for a truck. No issues with the steering or driving from the front end. The rear end just feels, I don't know, it's almost like just right there. It almost like jiggle. It goes like this. It's just not stable in the rear. And I had 4 people in here, and we actually had some cargo in the bed too, and it still was just jiggly. It just feels like, I don't know, it feels like maybe the rear frame is missing like a crossbar. It's still the only way I could describe it. Or if you ever had like a sway bar brake, a rear sway bar on your vehicle, that's what this feels like all the time. And this isn't unique to this vehicle. And again, this thing has 600 miles on it. It's not unique to this vehicle. Fords all kind of have this feel where you can almost see it there, where it kind of just jiggles. It's just feels like it's missing some rigidity. But yeah, tons of room. I love the fold down seat with the little phone holder here. Yeah, really no complaints other than the, suspension about how it drives. It's quiet, it's comfortable, it's smooth, it's pretty quick. I really like it, and I get why people like these things. The large fuel tank is a must. That is just awesome. I have this thing all week, and I'm not even going to put gas in it all week. That's phenomenal. I've had vehicles where I have to add gas every day, or God forbid you're in an electric vehicle where you got to charge it every day. This, you can just even forget it even needs gas. I mean, you can remember when you fill it up, but until then, party on. So, yeah. A couple other interesting things. So it has a column shifter, which I love. But the interesting thing about the column shifter is it's not connected to anything. It's an electronic column shifter. So it looks like you're actually going to grab it and change gears, but it's electric. There's no physical connection to anything. So kind of interesting. Another couple things that are pretty interesting about these Fords. So they have a 10-speed transmission. Now, the 10-speed is co-developed with GM, and that's not weird. That's been around since 2017 in an EcoBoost, and I think 2018 in the V8s, I believe. So nothing unique about it being a 10-speed, and it's been around at this point for 7-8 years, right? What is unique is the programming of the transmission. So let me show you here. See this M button? That's for manual mode. And when you put it in manual mode, it shows you the gear you select. And then you press these buttons here on the column. Those buttons there to change gears. Well, when it's in 10th and I'm about to floor it, it stays in 10th. That's with my foot to the floor. It does not downshift, which is exactly what you want out of a manual mode, but that is increasingly rare. In many vehicles, it's a gear limiter. So like, let's say right here, I have it in 8th and I floor it. You can watch the boost build and you can watch it accelerate, but it will not downshift. So it's not a gear limiter. It actually locks it in 8th gear. I really like that. Especially if you're towing and you're going up a hill, particularly with a turbocharged engine, and you just want to let that turbo spool and go up the hill. You don't want it gear hunting. Like right here, I've got it in 9th. I'm going up a little incline. I can just give it some gas, let the turbo spool, and go up the hill instead of having it downshift 6 times. Really like that feature. And that's some of the unique programming that's in the Ford version. In a GM, it's a gear limiter. You put it in 10th and you floor it, and it's going to drop to 3rd or 4th gear to accelerate. Not the case with the Ford programming. Again, everything about this truck I really like besides the suspension, but it's a pickup truck. You don't buy it for the smoothest, quietest, comfortable ride. You buy it to do things with, hopefully. A lot of people just buy it to drive to Starbucks, but yeah, for actually using it as a truck, I really like how the transmission functions and shifts. I have turned off all the safety tech in this thing because the lane centering is violent. I mean, it's not good. Yeah, the safety tech in this is similar to the Bronco Sport. The adaptive cruise works relatively well, but it is a little slow to respond. It's not something that I have any faith in. And the lane keeping, I mean, even like right here, this is a pretty well-maintained road with pretty clear lane markers. Even on something like this, see those like tire marks? It will pick up on that and violently throw you out. It works terrible. Ford safety tech has always been kind of worst in class, and I thought it may have improved by 2025, but it has not. Yeah, when I drove cross country, I was in a 2021 F150 with a 5-liter, same transmission, similar body design, but I believe it's technically a generation prior to this. But that had the same safety tech, and it worked just as bad, and that was 4 or 5 model years ago. So they have definitely some more work to do on the safety side of things. I don't really care because I drive with all that stuff off anyway. That wouldn't prevent me from getting one of these trucks. And actually, I really like a lot of things about it. I find the seat very comfortable. I find the seating position great. For a vehicle in this day and age, to have this kind of visibility where my arm actually has to go down to reach, my arm is, this is perfect arm level to stick your arm out the window. See, it's dropping down from my shoulder. That is not the case in almost any vehicle sold today with high belt lines. You definitely are getting a feel for the jiggly ride I'm seeing. I'm trying to explain here now, but yeah, seating position's great, seating comfort's great. Build quality is definitely a lot better on this than the Bronco Sport. I mean, maybe it's because it's a little higher trim, but the wheels leather wrapped. None of the materials feel cheap. This is just a much better built vehicle. So, yeah, overall, I really like it. Would I buy one? I would buy a regular cab short bed with the 5-liter and in 4-wheel drive. I think that's awesome. I love that. I've been eyeing one of those up. I've wanted one of those for a very long time, and I still do. Right now, work is letting us drive whatever we want, and we get paid mileage, and obviously we don't drive our personal cars a lot. Usually I'm just driving to the airport. So if they ever did go to some type of car allowance that required me to have a newer vehicle, that would be on my short list, is a regular cab short bed 5-liter F150. People take them and make a ton of power with them. Even if you leave it stock, though, they are incredibly fun. And yeah, I really like the space, the layout, a lot of the decisions that are made with this thing. I like it. I understand. I totally get it. I have nothing, really negative to say about this truck. So I'll give you guys more of an exterior tour and give you guys some more driving impressions here shortly. Definitely impressed with this thing. Show you guys the interior a little closer. So you can flip this seat up. It's great. You got a 6-seater. And then under here, you have another center console. So, yeah. Very practical. Like I said, best-selling truck in America for a reason. This thing continues to impress me. Who knows? Maybe one day the regular cab short bed 5.0, the day they announce they're going to discontinue it, prices are going to go crazy. So I do kind of want to get one before then, even though I'm not a big buy a car new guy. That might be a car I buy new, is one of these, because I think we are at the peak. I think it's all downhill from here. And I think I'm going to regret not getting a V8 in 2025. So let's talk drive modes. You got your 4-wheel drive selector in a odd place, but also spins for drive modes. So let's see what kind of drive modes we got here. Normal, Slippery. Four-wheel drive, no. Oh, it actually went into four-wheel drive and off-road. I was not trying to go to off-road mode. I was actually trying to get it into sport, normal, tow haul, eco. There's sport. Okay. Interestingly, you cannot go backwards. You have to go forward. So I accidentally put it in four-wheel drive going 70 miles an hour. A unique choice, but all right, now that we got it in sport mode, it changed all the gauges, which is cool. Let's see about the throttle response. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. It's definitely holding gears. I'm not manually shifting anything. That's just what it's doing in sport mode. Oh, that's cool. In sport mode, it displays the gear that you're in at all times. That's really cool. Wow. And just blipping the throttle, it downshifts. It wants to go. Pretty good power. That's really cool. I really like the gear selector there. What I really don't like, though, is that I have to cycle through all these modes to put it back into normal mode. But, what the hell. I guess we'll just leave it in sport mode. All right, let's see about a 0 to 60 run. That was in 4 high in sport mode. Oh, it automatically shifted to 2 high. Interesting. Maybe let's try it again here in 2 high. Not bad. Pretty good amount of power. Definitely fun to drive, you know, for a massive pickup truck. Yeah, very interesting power delivery. This thing definitely makes more low-end power and runs out of steam at around 4,500 RPM. I'm sure the horsepower peak's a little higher than that, but the torque has definitely left the chat by 4,500 RPM. It's all torque until then, though. Like, here we go. We'll put it in, I'll put it in 6th again, and you can watch the boost build. Yeah, right there from like 2,500 to about 4,000, you have a really strong pull. In all honesty, it feels a lot quicker there than it does at higher speeds, higher RPMs, I should say. Let's do a little more acceleration here. Not too bad. Something to remember is this is the absolute base of the base powertrain. Pretty good for a standard motor. This has about the same amount of horsepower and torque as my 6-liter Suburban does. Now, granted, that's 25 years older than this, but I mean, even today, GM's NA 6.2 makes, okay, that makes 400 horsepower, but the 3.5 makes more power and more torque. So It's amazing what turbos do. I'm not really a big fan of turbos for reliability reasons. I mean, like I like the driving experience in a truck, like a diesel. This has this like a diesel light in terms of the way it delivers the power and torque. So I understand why Ford went this direction, and I understand why they're so popular. I just love the sound and feel of a V8. So I'd still go 5.0, but the more time I spend with this 2.7, I'm not... If I was just using a truck for truck stuff, this 2.7's a pretty good engine. And especially with the transmission behavior, being able to just ride that torque at low RPMs and keep the engine in the appropriate RPM range, I really like that. Now, I would buy one of these for somewhat truck stuff, but really, like I said, regular cab, 5.0, short bed, four-wheel drive is where I'd be at. Just, you know, because I couldn't leave it alone. I'd make it loud. I'd make it even faster. And, yeah, I just love a V8. I think we're in like 1969 right now, you know? We're at the peak of automotive horsepower, performance. We might not know it or acknowledge it yet, but unfortunately, you know, the early 70s and into the 80s period is coming of tight emissions regulations, lower performance, and just I think we've peaked the internal combustion engine. I mean, you can go buy a Corvette with 1,000 horsepower and twin turbos, or one that has, you know, 670 horsepower and revs over 8,000 RPM from a Chevy dealership, right? You can get a twin turbo base model Ford F-150 like this. This would be the hottest truck ever 10 years ago. This would be, you know, this would be a sport truck. So we've reached, I think we're at the peak. And I think as engine sizes continue to get smaller, as regulations continue to get worse worldwide, doesn't, you know, I think everyone's all excited that, oh, here in America, we're going to go back to V8s and everything. I don't think that we are. The way that the development cycle works in the automotive world, I think whatever V8s are out there are going to be built upon and kept alive for as long as they can. But there's not a lot of people. I know GM said that they dedicated all this money to building a new small block, but GM has said a lot of things. I think you just have to look at the direction the rest of the world is going with European standards particularly, and it's not that hard to realize that I think we're already past it. I think the twilight years are upon us in terms of high performance, especially naturally aspirated motors. Naturally aspirated motors are so rare today. So, yeah, as well as this performs, I'd still get the 5.0. Another interesting thing to note, it was not fully warmed up before, and it didn't give me full boost. So, there's a ton of computers limiting stuff in here. You know, with all the torque and power this thing has, you cannot light up the tires no matter what you do with the pedal dance. I mean, I'm sure someone's going to tell me how to do it, and I will definitely take note of that for the next time I rent one of these in Mexico. But, you know, just holding down traction control buttons, power braking, the torque is so limited in the first two gears. You probably saw my 0 to 60 video. This thing should go way faster 0 to 60. I bet with just like a very minor tune, it would take a second and a half off the 0 to 60 on this thing. But here we go. Like right now that it's warmed up, if I do a same full throttle pull, you're now seeing 20 pounds of boost. And again, it's quiet and performs great, but definitely a bit of an appliance feeling engine, which is fine. It's a truck. I mean, it's for, like I said, for using it for work, I totally get this engine. Totally get it. Does it set my heart on fire? Absolutely not. Drove all the way from Mexico to Chicago, but a kiss and fly and an auto pound, huh? What goes on in Chicago exactly? That's unique. Kiss and fly and auto pound. All right. Time to try and navigate the return garage here. This ought to be interesting. Normally it's no big deal returning a rental car, but the turning radius in this thing is truly atrocious. Another reason I definitely go with the regular cab short bed. This has to have the worst turning radius in its class. It is obnoxious how bad it is. I've had crew cab 8-foot bed trucks with far better turning radiuses than this. This turning radius is really, really bad. But overall, F150, best appliance in America. So I drove this thing all week, put 250 miles on it, and I still have over half a tank, 380 miles to empty. You guys saw how I was driving it. I wasn't exactly driving for fuel economy. Well, it's time to bring this thing back. Kind of interesting. It still has a key in 2025. Who's got a key in 2025? Ford F-150 does. But yeah, time to bring it back. Figured I'd give you guys a better exterior tour. Kind of interesting. This bed liner doesn't really fit. I don't know. You can hear it too. I don't know. Not my truck, but it's kind of weird. Yeah, interior in this is nice. Everything's soft touch. Not like the Bronco. And the space. The space is incredible. So that's my driving position. And here's the space behind myself. Let me demonstrate. I still have quite a bit of space in every direction. Very practical. I don't know how well this material is going to hold up. It feels a little thin and flimsy, but yeah. Still get USB ports back here. LED lights on the inside, which is nice. Yeah, overall, it's just a really nice place to be. Nothing fancy. Just a good, dependable truck. I would do without these running boards, but yeah, F-150, pretty simple. It's the best-selling truck in America for a reason. The infotainment's worked really great. The screen's infinitely configurable. Tons of room, tons of space. I really have nothing. I have no legitimate complaints about this, which is unique, especially compared to my Bronco last week. So that's it for this week's couple rental reviews. I appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned next week for another. If you want to see anything else, I'm going to try and get some content on my other cars this weekend. So, you know, the stuff that's a bit more interesting. But thanks again for watching, and go drive. Get off YouTube and go drive now. Now that you've watched my video, get off YouTube and go drive. Appreciate it, guys. Take care.